The mountain did not welcome them. It watched. Mist tangled in the trees. Stones slick with age. Silence heavy enough to bruise the lungs. Some men entered these peaks seeking skill. They did not return enlightened. They returned altered. Faster. Sharper. Wrong. They said something lived there. Not a god. Not a beast. The Tengu. And it did not give power. It demanded absence. The Japanese mountains were never empty. They were crowded with fear. Forests too dense to flee through. Cliffs that swallowed sound. Paths that ended without warning. This was not scenery. It was pressure. Here, the border between the living world and something older thinned. Yamabushi climbed into this silence to erase themselves. Warriors followed, for different reasons. They believed mastery lived where humans did not. And sometimes, something answered. The earliest stories did not call it a teacher. They called it a disaster, a thing in the sky, wings cutting through omens, fire following its passing. Children vanished, temples burned, monks lost themselves to arrogance and fell hard. The Tengu was blamed because blame needed a shape. It was chaos given feathers, a warning carved into rumor. The lesson was simple. Power that arrives too easily corrupts, and those who seek it will rot from the inside.
Then the wars came, and the stories changed. The bird became a man, red-faced, long-nosed, dressed like a priest who had climbed too high and never come back down. This was no accident. The Tengu now wore knowledge, scripture, strategy. He was no longer wild. He was resentful, a scholar exiled from humanity, watching from above, waiting, not destroying blindly, interfering. Some warriors returned with skills no dojo could explain, too fluid, too exact. They whispered of training that no human survived easily. Yoshitsune was the name history remembered. A boy left alone in the mountains. A ghost taught him how to move, how to strike before thought formed. Was it a demon? Or was it isolation so severe that the mind split and rebuilt itself into something lethal? The Tengu became the excuse, because no one wanted to admit what true mastery costs. They spoke of ki, of vanishing without movement, of footwork that broke rhythm itself. Not magic, discipline taken too far, thrown down slopes until fear shattered, forced to fight storms, darkness, imaginary enemies, until imagination killed hesitation. This was not teaching. It was erosion. The ego did not survive. Only function did.
The Tengu was never a being. It was the name given to what happens when a man is left alone long enough with ambition and terrain that does not care if he lives. The mountain did the teaching. Cold, hunger, repetition, no praise, no mercy. Those who survived did not return human. They returned efficient. Villages bowed but stepped back. A man trained by the mountains did not belong among walls. He carried silence, unpredictability. He knew how far he could go without breaking, and how easily others would. That knowledge unsettled peace. Religion tried to cage it. Masks on temple walls, fans behind glass. They called the Tengu a guardian now, a protector. Not because it had changed, but because it was safer to kneel to fear than admit it still ruled. Control the myth, control the mountain. At least that was the hope. The Tengu never left. It waits in every impossible skill, every act of mastery that feels inhuman. Whenever someone asks, how did he become that good? The mountain answers quietly, with solitude. Power like this is not borrowed. It is paid for, with connection, with softness, with the part of the self that hesitates. The Tengu teaches one lesson only. To be unmatched, you must be alone, and something inside you will never come back down. The Tengu is not a demon. It is a mirror, held up by stone and silence. And what it shows depends on how far you are willing to go.